Oh boy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be one of those live streams. And that's because, unfortunately, even in 2021, I understand that it is so called Black History Month, but we have very sad individuals like Herschel Walker. Now, I remember watching Herschel Walker back when he was playing for the University of Georgia back in the day. And I'm going to be honest, he was never my favorite anyway. I always thought that guys like Bo Jackson, hey, what's going on, man? Brother Barack, we all right. We all right. I just have to talk about this. Hey, Smart Show, how you doing? I just had to talk about this clown. Um, as I was saying, Herschel Walker was never my favorite running back. I always gravitated to guys like Bo Jackson. And if you're around my generation, you remember guys like Billy Sims. I always found that those guys were better than Herschel Walker. And maybe it was because of his style of play. He wasn't the most graceful running back, but then I heard him speak. And listen, this guy, he has always had that yes, all boss mentality. And here it is, 30 some odd years later. And the more things change, unfortunately, when it comes to Herschel Walker, the more things stay the same. Now, Herschel Walker is as useless to the Black community as a chastity belt to a prostitute. But let his own words indict him, not mine. And this is according to the New York Post. Legendary former pro football running back Herschel Walker on Wednesday led conservative resistance to slavery reparations during a congressional hearing. Walker, who played in the old USFL and NFL over 15 years, said that reparations might require Black Americans like himself to use genetics company 23andMe to calculate their pay and by percentage of ancestry. And he argued African Americans also were involved in the slave trade, which the U.S. abolished in 1865. And of course, this is the same Herschel Walker who, of course, campaigned for, you guessed it, former President Donald Trump, aka Orange Face. We use Black power to create white guilt. My approach is biblical. How can I ask my Heavenly Father to forgive me if I can't forgive my brother? The former Dallas Cowboys star told a House Judiciary Committee subcommittee. America is the greatest country in the world for me, a melting pot of a lot of great races, a lot of great minds that have come together with different ideas to make Americans the greatest country on earth. Many have died trying to get into America. No one is dying trying to get out, he said. Reparations. Where does the money come from? Does it come from all the other races except the Black taxpayers? Who is Black? What percentage of Black must you be to receive reparations? Do you go to 23andMe or a DNA test to determine the percentage of Blackness? Some American ancestors just came to this country 80 years ago. Their ancestors weren't even here during slavery. Some Black immigrants weren't here during slavery, nor their ancestors. Some states didn't even have slavery. Walker, a 1982 Heisman Trophy winner, who started his pro career with the fledgling USFL New Jersey Generals owned by one Donald Trump, also played for the Vikings, Eagles, and Giants. He was the most famous witness at the hearing for House Resolution 40, which would create a commission to study the issue. The bill is sponsored by Texas Democratic Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. Representative Steve Cohen, Democrat from Tennessee, quoted attorney Charles Ogletree, who said the final result of the commission may not be the 21st century equivalent of 40 acres and a mule. He said it was an SUV and a condo. Representative Jerry Nadler from New York said that it's possible reparations would not be financial payments. Walker, who is 58 years old, which makes this even more egregious, by the way, said that he spoke to his mother to get her opinion before the hearing. I asked my mom, who is in her mid-80s, her thoughts on reparations. Her words, I do not believe in reparations. Who is the money gonna go to? Has anyone thought about paying the families who lost someone in the Civil War, who fought for their freedom, Walker said? The football star said that his mother told him that reparations are akin to the proverb about giving someone a fish rather than teaching them how to fish for themselves. Reparation is only feeding you for a day. It is removing a sign for whites only and replacing it with a sign, no education here, he said. Walker also questioned who was at fault for slavery. Who is the guilty party? Should we start at the beginning where African Americans sold your African American ancestors into slavery? And to a slave trader who eventually sold African American ancestors to slave owners, he said? He concluded, I feel it continues to let us know we're still African American rather than just American. Reparation or atonement is outside the teaching of Jesus Christ. Wow. You know what? I have to stop right there. I can't finish this crap. You know, it is people like the Herschel Walkers of the world, the Candace Owens, the Lee Elders, and people of that ilk. That is why, number one, we need to purge ourselves of these savages, these cowards, these agents for white supremacy. We have to get rid of those coons before we can even think about taking on white supremacy head on. And this shows you how well trained of a slave he is. First off, if your mother really taught you that, then she was a terrible mother. Yeah, I said it. And I try to show respect to my elders. But obviously she has shown no respect to her own people. So therefore, I will show absolutely no respect to her. First of all, that is not the teachings of the Jesus Christ that is in the Bible. I don't know what Bible he's using, but it certainly is not the same Bible that I'm using. Either that, or he doesn't know how to read his Bible, or both. And let's face it, if you've seen Herschel Walker speak and heard him speak, you would definitely know that I am not far-fetched, because this man is quite stupid. I mean, he is Mr. Oh no, sir. I love America. Listen, all of that garbage that he was spewing has nothing to do with the simple fact that, first off, reparations is not a handout. Those are services owed and rendered. Let's put that out there first. It's not like, oh, well, I just sat on my behind, didn't do anything. I mean, our ancestors gave their blood, sweat, and tears and did not get the 40 acres and a mule that they were promised, that they are, in fact, owed. And we are the descendants of those slaves. And we are therefore entitled to that. It's quite simple. You know what? It's amazing. Herschel Walker obviously didn't do his homework yet again. I guess he didn't have a problem with the slave owners getting reparations for losing their so-called property. But he has a problem with the people who are afflicted, the ancestors of those being afflicted, getting their just reparations. That is a problem to Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker doesn't have a problem with other nations getting reparations, but he has a problem with his own people getting reparations. If that's not stupid, I don't know what is. You know what, Herschel Walker? Why don't you just keep your mouth shut for one? Because you shouldn't talk about anything that deals with our race and our people, period. You are not qualified to do so. And you show that every time you open your mouth. Reparations, once again, let me reiterate this, it is not a handout. The same way that someone receiving something from somebody's will is not a handout. You know, when Donald J. Trump inherited his business from his father, that for some reason is not considered a handout, because in essence it's not. Well, this is the same thing with reparations, Herschel. But you know what? As much as you wanted to, Herschel, you can buck dance and coon and talk as foolish as you want to talk. The fact and the cold, harsh reality is, as usual, and it's going to happen to you, Herschel, white supremacy always gets rid of their tools. And you will be just as irrelevant as you regularly are. Because no one gave a damn about Herschel Walker after he stopped playing football. And trust me, as soon as everything subsides and everybody stops talking about you yet again, Herschel, no one will give a damn about you yet again. And I can't wait for that. Herschel Walker, you do not speak for me or for anybody else in our community. So why don't you take your buck dancing behind back home and leave it there. Thanks so much for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. UncleClaude signing out. Take care. God bless. And Herschel Walker, keep your mouth shut.